I have been around this league long enough to know that when a dynasty starts feeling the squeeze of the salary cap, the rest of the NFL starts circling like sharks. Right now, all eyes are on Kansas City, and specifically how they intend to navigate a very tricky financial landscape this offseason. The Chiefs have reached that point where keeping a championship core together becomes a mathematical puzzle that sometimes does not have a perfect solution. And that brings us to the Chicago Bears. I am hearing from sources close to the situation that Ryan Poles and the front office in Chicago are keeping a very close watch on the developments at Arrowhead Stadium. It is no secret that the Bears are a team on the rise, looking for that final piece of veteran leadership to solidify a locker room that is learning how to win. When you look at the connections here, it makes too much sense to ignore. Poles knows that organization inside and out, and he knows exactly which players carry the DNA of a champion. We are not talking about a depth piece here. We are talking about a foundational talent who has seen it all and won it all. The focus of this monitoring, as I understand it, is centered on a defensive powerhouse who has been the heartbeat of that Kansas City front for years.
That brings us to the man at the center of these discussions, Chris Jones. Now, let us be very clear here. Nothing is official, and the Chiefs would obviously prefer to keep a player of his caliber. But the reality of the NFL salary cap is unforgiving. Jones is a three-time Super Bowl champion, a perennial All-Pro, and a player who demands a double team on every single snap. He is the definition of a game changer. In Kansas City, the front office is staring at some difficult decisions regarding their veteran contracts. They have already committed massive money to Patrick Mahomes, as they should, but the ripple effects are starting to hit the defensive side of the ball. I have spoken to a few cap experts who suggest that the Chiefs might be forced to consider a move they would not otherwise make, simply to stay compliant and maintain some level of flexibility for the future. For a player like Chris Jones, who has earned every penny of his status, the question becomes whether the Chiefs can afford to keep him at market value while also filling out the rest of a competitive roster. It is a classic championship dilemma. Do you keep the star and weaken the depth, or do you move on from a legend to keep the collective machine running? Chicago is betting on the latter being a possibility.
From the Bears' perspective, this is not just about adding a great player, it is about a cultural shift. Matt Eberflus has been building a specific identity in Chicago, and adding a veteran with 3 rings would be like pouring gasoline on a fire. I have been told that the Bears are particularly interested in how Jones could mentor their younger defensive linemen. Imagine the impact a player with that kind of postseason experience would have on a developing room. But beyond the leadership, the fit on the field is almost too perfect. The Bears have the cap space, something most teams in the league envy right now, and they have a clear need for an interior pass rush that can take over a game in the fourth quarter. Ryan Poles has been disciplined in his rebuild, avoiding the temptation to overspend on mid-tier talent. He has been waiting for a whale, a player who truly moves the needle. My sense is that the Bears view this as a unique window of opportunity. They see a Kansas City team that might be forced to blink, and they want to be first in line if and when that happens. It is a calculated, patient approach that reflects the way Poles has operated since he arrived in the Windy City. He is not rushing, but he is certainly prepared. Now, we have to temper this with a bit of professional caution. As I always say, until the paperwork is filed, it is all just educated speculation. The Chiefs are masters at finding ways to keep their stars, and it would not surprise anyone if they found a way to restructure or move money around to keep Chris Jones in a red jersey. They value him immensely, and losing him would be a significant blow to their hopes of a three-peat. However, the fact that Chicago is even in this conversation tells you everything you need to know about where the Bears are in their trajectory. They are no longer just looking to compete. They are looking to dominate. I will be keeping my phone close over the next few days to see if these monitoring efforts turn into actual negotiations. It is a high-stakes game of poker between two franchises at very different stages of their journey. One is trying to sustain a dynasty under financial pressure, while the other is trying to use its financial might to jumpstart a new era of success. Whether Chris Jones ends up at Soldier Field or stays at Arrowhead, the narrative is clear. The Bears are ready to be big players in the veteran market. We will see how the chips fall, but for now, the league is on notice. Chicago is watching, and they are ready to strike if the opportunity presents itself.